because we care to make a difference. We do. I was out here driving around yesterday here in Fry, and there's some things we can do better. There's no doubt about it. And Mr. Callback here was part of the original Fry Task Force with myself, and I think you were one of the seed planters to the Fry Task Force, him and Mayor Hessler, and you see the products on Railroad with the new buildings, the houses going up there, and the apartments. That was a result of some of our efforts coming together. So the leaders in this room, we can make a difference, and you in the community working together one-on-one on that. So again, I really feel something positive coming out of this. And one of my philosophies at the Sheriff's Department is there's three key buzzwords: education, prevention, and enforcement. So you think about that, break that down. 66% of what the Sheriff's Office and law enforcement in this country does is prevention and education. So, and that's why we're here tonight. That's why we're here. And we have that component of enforcement because 95% of the people we serve in law enforcement are good to great people. It's that 5% that we spend 95% of our time on because they don't care about you in the room, and they're not here tonight. But that's okay. We'll be coming. We'll be coming.
My name is Gwen Calhoun, and I'm a member of the Sierra Vista City Council. This started again a couple of Saturdays ago, or about a month ago, from a lady from the Fry Township area who wanted to see what we could all do together to make this area better and to continue to improve on the area. And from that small group of about 10, 12 people, it's wonderful to see it has grown with interest from so many more people. We also know there's even more out in the community who care about this part of, I started to say Sierra Vista, this part of the area and want to see us continue to improve. So welcome to you all. Please listen to the information that's going to be given tonight and then share your concerns for the area and your pride in the area, and we'll, in the end, have very good results.
Welcome from me as Sheriff here in Cochise County. I'm going to turn over to Gwen. Let her introduce you to.
From us from this beginning. So thank you all for being here.
First, I want to introduce Carol Kappas. Carol is our support services supervisor and also our PIO.
I grew up in a lot of this area, so it has changed drastically. Carmichael School is one of the schools that I went to, and it's great to be back here. Thank you so much, Principal.
Also is Ken Foster, Lieutenant with the Sheriff's Office. Your lieutenant here in Sierra Vista, and they'll be your moderation. I'm going to turn it over to you guys right now.
I'm Rick Mueller, Mayor of Sierra Vista, and I don't want to correct Gwen, but this is actually the greater Sierra Vista community, and that's the point. Sierra Vista community, there are areas that are in the county, there are areas that are in the city, but we're one community and we need to work together to overcome any issues we have. So thank you for being here.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Henrietta Hank Husking, a member of the Sierra Vista City Council, and I feel like this has been my neighborhood for a long time. I used to teach water conservation in this school, and so I'm glad to be back.
The ordinance that is missing out of the county to clean up the blight, that's the one that is important. And I don't know why you should have to spend a great deal of money, go to court with somebody recently for 3 years to clean up a property that he's using as a junkyard. Why should you have to spend that money? Why can't we get an ordinance that causes these people, it gives them an incentive to clean it up rather than you spend the money, make it more expensive for them not to do it. That's the thing that we really need.
That's a very good question, and part of the problem is that it's very complex. And Chris, I worked with Chris in this area for a long time, and one of the issues here with the city versus the county can only do what state statute allows it to do. The city can come up with ordinances sort of on, they can make up themselves. But the problem with the county here, what we've had in a number of areas, is that we have to go through a process, and Chris backed me up on this in terms, Chris and I go through this a lot as I'm driving around and say, Chris, go look at this area. He goes and talks to people. They've got 30 days to clean it up. If they don't, then a letter is issued, or a letter is issued first. Then we have to go through a process with the county attorney. I think it's 90 days to allow folks to respond. Because if we don't go through that due process, then what happens is that when it does go to a judge, if it ever does go to a judge, the judge throws it out because we haven't followed due process.
Does that include health hazard?
That includes health hazards as well in virtually every case. I know, it's annoying to a lot of us too. We would like to move a great deal faster. Usually what happens, and I have to give a great deal of credit to Chris here, is that he will work with people and get them to the point where they will clean things up enough that it passes. But what we also see over the years, time and time again, and I'm sure you're aware of this, is that certain areas, people have learned how to get around things. They will do just as much as they need to get by, and then until we bother them again, or harass them, if you will, to clean this up again, and they do just enough. And it's very frustrating for us as well. But again, the difference between the city and the county is the fact that we have different statutes that the county has to abide by. And you probably don't see it because it's not that obvious. Chris is constantly following up on people, sending out letters saying you've got to clean this up, and continues to follow through the process. But I know it should seem a lot more simple, but it actually is not.
Pat, what you're saying basically is that we're going to have to go to the legislature to get those things changed.
Right, and it's not just, again, we're talking about this small area here, but when you go to the legislature to try and get things like this changed, what you're talking about is getting it changed for the entire state of Arizona. And somewhere along that line, there are going to be people that for whatever reason object to it. But that would certainly be something for you to talk to our local state reps. Senator Griffin, Representative David Gallo, David Stevens. Yeah, certainly that's worth a discussion with them.
And there are a number of pictures of burned out trailers, windows, that kind of thing. Has action already started on all those items? There's probably 20, 30 pictures maybe in there.
There has been action taken on some of those. Like Pat says, they get to what they have to do to the minimum to get it by. But what I do is I keep a piece of paper, notepad, and I constantly go by it. Even to this day, I remember all the violations in this area, and I remember the people because I've been doing it for so long over here. So I remember all these violations, and whenever I'm over here, I drive by to see, because as soon as it falls out of being compliant, it's right back in violation. And if they don't do something quick enough, then we're going to move in and do something and place a lien against it. Like the one I seen in the picture, there was a window out. I don't know where that was on it, but I will be looking at those.
Well, a number of those we've seen over a period of 2 years. And is that the length of time it takes to get some sort of action?
No, actually, he put a fence around the one that was burnt, and that's okay. That's actually in the regulation. That actually is in the regulation. A fence around it is compliant. So he's getting it on a gray area, but it's really, I'm really watching it. But some of the others, there might be something wrong with them. The grass is overgrown. The county doesn't have anything right now as weed abatement or to deal with weeds.
We're talking weeds. We're
yeah, but
talking
then
broken windows and,
right.
and a place for pests and birds to house themselves.
Right.
I mean, health and safety issues.
Right. There's some of it, I don't know where it was broken at on. It might be on one where we didn't see or an inspector didn't see. But now that I see that, I will be double checking and taking a closer look at these properties to get them sealed up, because I was not aware of this, but I will correct it.
One of the things that the city council did in its strategic plan was to see what we could do about all the dilapidated mobile homes. And I know that when I was elected to the council, that was the one thing they wanted me to take care of right away was, well, how are you going to take care of all these dilapidated trailers? And I found out very quickly that you couldn't just order them off the property or hire a truck to take them to the dump. Due process is really important. And it does take a lot longer than any of us. If I was queen for a day, I would wave my wand and they would all be gone and the whole place would be wonderful. But some of these places are so old, they have asbestos, and that's one of the things that we had to deal with the old Hatfield mortuary. So you also have to have a willing owner. People that own the property have to be willing to want to do something. And so one of the things that the city council does on a regular speak to this is that we do make our rounds, and also Jennifer, I'm sorry, they do make their rounds among the trailer parks all over the city, including Fry, and some people have removed their mobile homes. And others are talked to, you know, they're in the process, and so we are gradually seeing things cleaned up. And it's mostly through local efforts.
Clarification for what Chris said and Pat said. We do hazard, when we have a hazard abatement call, and that's what you're talking about in this trailer, it would be great if they could be done on a timely manner, but in my experience, it can be 6-7 months, because there is a time that we've got to give the property owner, we've got to give them a reasonable time to be able to respond and act. And some of these things will go on for a year.
We had a sheriff's substation in the little strip mall down on Theater and 7th, and when that substation was in here, we saw a real decrease in crime, and what's the chance of getting a substation back in?
We actually went to the property owner and said, listen, we'd like to partner with you on that, and free of charge, we went in that between the city and the sheriff's office. We had a sign out front, we had the windows tinted, and I can't tell you the side story on this, how many times we'd sit in there and watch drug deals in the parking lot, we open the door, hey, you got a minute? So, bottom line is, Lee that runs the Sierra Vista Food Mart is very supportive of law enforcement and what we do. I think we can go back in there, and I rely on Kenny as the lieutenant of this district, go back in there and talk to him and work with Darryl in the back, the commander from the Sierra Vista Police Department, probably get that set back up. I know they just opened up a West community center there by where the old Sorry Gulch used to be. They just opened that up too. And again, those are nice for law enforcement officers to pull in there, have a soda, and just watch people and be visible and transparent, so we want to stop and talk to them. So we can look at that, Kenny.
Yeah, we have a satellite office at the west side of town, and it's just for officers to go in, do reports, or meet the public there. And it's a law enforcement center for the sheriff's office and for us. It was donated to us by a business member. Pretty nice little place, actually.
Do you see an increase in crime in the Fry Township area in the last 10 years? And if so, how much and what kind of increase in crimes are you seeing? We would kind of like to know the status of how things are in our community. I've been retired a few years, and so I'm not on top of it right now, but I'd like to know.
Since about 2010, it's staying steady, but there was a big drop from the late 1990s, actually the early 2000s into about 2010, 2011. So actually the crime stats are going down in the Fry Township area, except for the drug investigation.
Marge, to answer your question, one of the things that in an innovative way is since Fry is blended and we have enclaves throughout, which is counties like that, we can be working on a house across the street from the county, then the house behind us in the city that's doing drugs. So what we've done is the chief and I came together along with some other agencies, and we're putting a community drug task force together. So non-jurisdictional based in that fact, where they'll be working hand in hand, sharing intel and going after drug dealers and those in our communities. We think it's very important because right now everybody's doing their own thing. And the chief and I feel that that collaboration will serve us very well. So you will be seeing that here real soon.
My question is, if you have to be registered for a sex offender, don't you think if you committed any crime for a child, you should register? I want to know, because I know there's some child abuse, there's some people who harm kids, and they're just walking around. So I wonder, could they be registered also, or only with sex crimes?
No, this Arizona revised statutes only cover people who have been convicted of sex crimes and kidnapping. So you have to register in the state of Arizona if you fall under any of those categories, to include indecent exposure. But in the counts of indecent exposure, you have to be convicted 3 times before you have to register as a sex offender. So that's one of the things that they have not approached in any type of legislative way, as far as having anybody who's convicted of any type of felony is what you're talking about?
Or any kind of harming a child.
Okay, no, it would have to have some nexus to some type of sex offense, again, or kidnapping, and then not dealing with children, it would be the indecent exposure, but again, that has to be a 3-time conviction for that. So we do keep track of our registered sex offenders. We have one that's outstanding right now. Sierra Vista Police Police Department, thank you very much, arrested one for us last week. So we only have one outstanding that we will find, and the rest of them, there are over 250 registered sex offenders in Cochise County. The number that are publicly notifiable are 73 out of that, because they fall after Megan's Law, which was enacted July 1st, 1996. So that's another program that we have at the Sheriff's Office in collaboration with the municipalities. The City of Sierra Vista has a great crew that also assists. So they take care of the people that are registered in their jurisdiction, and the Sheriff's Office holds mass list of everyone in Cochise County. So to answer your question, unfortunately, no, we do not.
Is what I'm hearing is that to really resolve the blight issue, we have a few choices, which is annexation. We can lobby our state legislatures to change statute, or we can lobby our neighbors and engage our neighbors to encourage them and help them to improve their own properties. And so I'm just hoping that maybe the mayor, or Gwen, or the Cochise supervisors can maybe weigh in on annexation, and which three or which combination of those three options would do the most good, where we should spend most of our time.
Thank you, Alicia. In case you don't know, this is our Councilwoman-elect Alicia. And that's a very good question, and actually the answer is probably a combination of all three. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the annexation. The gentleman sitting next to you talked about why some of the neighbors don't want to annex, because they know we do have codes, in city codes. We have rental property codes and a number of other things that the county doesn't have because of the unique structure of the Arizona laws. To make a better community, my belief is that annexation should be seriously considered, and with that will come enforcement. But again, we have issues the same as the county. It may take 6 months to do all the right things and go through the proper legal steps. And I would point out to you that we have a property as you enter the city that we just got the asbestos done in, and it's taken us about 2 years to go through that. It's a commercial property, not a residential property, but it's taken that long to work continuously on to get that property cleaned up. So we do have some of those same issues, even though you're annexed into the city. Your other two were talk to your neighbors. Obviously, that should be the first step. Talk to your neighbor, help your neighbor pitch in, get neighborhood organizations together to go in and lend a hand, because I tell you, in a couple of places, we've had an elderly person or persons, and they just can't cope and they don't have family available. When those things become available, we depend on the pastors. We depend on the neighbors to go in and help. So that's another one. And the third one was state legislation. Pat is actually very right on when he made his comments. It's very tough. Just like Richard said, in the county, you have laws that apply to different things in Cochise County. It's the same thing with the state legislature. If we need to give counties more powers, that's something that we can work on. But again, it's got to go through our talk about, was it 7 million in Arizona now? Trying to get the legislature to agree, that'd be worthwhile pursuing.
Well, over the years, I think I spent my early career as a sergeant keeping Mark alive in Frytown when he would go out on various calls out there. As the city, we're really here to take care of any issues that occur. One of the things that a lot of times when sheriff's deputies, they have such a vast area, obviously our guys probably end up coming into Frytown before the sheriff's deputies make it to the scene. A lot of things that we do is we just stabilize, make sure everything's going according to procedure, and when a sheriff's deputy arrives, then we go ahead and turn the scene over to them, or assist them, continue to assist them, depending on what the situation is. But Sierra Vista Police Department's here to help, and just give us a call.
Okay, to purchase that we have to replace. So that's one thing, and that's money that could be going back into the community. That is being spent for the graffiti and stuff going on around here. So, you know, you guys see anything like that going around here, call law enforcement. They're going to be around. I mean, you know, Yeah, if they catch them, that'd be great, you know? And then give them a rag and have them start mucking some of them off. It's just like the sidewalk. You know, when we used to use spray paint and all that stuff, it was candy apple red for a bicycle.
The mission of the organizations that we have here is fairly straightforward, and Sheriff Daniels and Councilwoman Gwen Calhoun worked closely together to develop this. It is officials from Cochise County and the City of Sierra Vista governments, to include community leaders, are working in a trusted partnership and have come together to share a common vision for the betterment and enhanced quality of life directly related to our citizens who live in and around the Fry Township area. It's pretty straightforward, and I think that that's our mission definitely that we're on tonight.